a whole heap of information about it, because it is unsolved, but it is one of them cases that there's not a lot of information out there about it either. So it's a bit like, but I tried my best to get as much information as I can. But it might be a bit all over the place because I use more than one site and I just write down each site information as I go along, if that makes any sense. I don't know if it did, but yes, anyway, I hope you guys enjoy, so sit back and relax. Okay, so this true crime case is about Johanna Young. When Joanna Young's half-naked body was found by police, her jeans were missing. After the area was searched, someone, presumably the killer, put the jeans where the body was found. The murder was particularly vicious. 14-year-old Joanna of Watton, Norfolk, was last seen outside a fish and chip shop on Thursday, December the 23rd of 1993. On Boxing Day, her body was found in a freezing pond near her home. Her clothes and shoes were spread about nearby. Her tights and knickers had been ripped off. She had been assaulted, then battered to death. Joanna was 14 when she went missing. Her partially clothed body was found covered in scratches and face down in water on Boxing Day. Investigating officer Marie James said, "I am convinced the answer lies within the community of Watton. I'm quite sure that there is someone out there, whether they used to live in Watton or have since moved on, that has information that may unlock this case," said Detective Inspector James of Norfolk Police. A post-mortem examination revealed Joanna, whose body was found close to Criston Road in Watton, died from drowning and a fractured skull. A fresh appeal in 2014 saw 2 people arrested and bailed, but police said there was insufficient information to prove those individuals' involvement. Joanna had left home where she lived with her parents, Carol and Robert, and siblings Daniel and Emma, at 7:30 on the 23rd of December, when she did not return home that night. The parents assumed she was with friends or her boyfriend Ryan Furman, but she failed to turn up for her paper round on Christmas Eve, and the police were called. After her body was recovered, investigations targeted local men, and although 3 people were arrested and questioned, no charges were brought. Mr. Young, 64, said they would finally get closure if the case was solved. "You live in hope that someday something will happen," added Mrs. Young, 61. A cryptic letter was sent to the Eastern Daily Press soon after Joanna was found dead. Insert image here, so I'll insert it on the side of the screen here for you guys to see the image. Joanna's body was found after a dog walker came across one of the trainers in the undergrowth near the body. There was no evidence of a sexual motive, police said. Soon after Joanna was found dead, a cryptic letter was sent to the Eastern Daily Press featuring a drawing of a girl, a youth, Officers put posters up around the town. 1,000 questionnaires were distributed to homes. 4,000 lines of inquiry were pursued, while police took 1,600 statements, but all to no avail. Detectives ran into problems with the investigation early on. The first problem was a lack of witnesses about that night Joanna went missing. Police were convinced the killer was a local young man, and therefore someone in Watton was hiding the killer from them, but they struggled to initially get information from the youth scene which Joanna was a part of. Ultimately, officers became frustrated about the lack of info they got, while the townsfolk became frustrated about the lack of progress in the investigation. Exemplifying the problems police faced was a mysterious postcard. The person who drew it disguised their handwriting according to a handwriting expert this newspaper asked at the time. They both used their right and left hands to draw it. They also sent the card from a Norwich postbox, not a local Watton one. The theory that Joanna met a man on a motorbike that night, which is supported by the postcard, has never been ruled out. Police cold case team members said it was always a possibility, though never proven, that the head injury could have been caused by coming off a motorcycle. There were no other injuries on her body to suggest a motorbike accident, but the inquest into Joanna's death did establish that she had a very thin skull, meaning she could have been knocked unconscious by a fall. A witness in 1993 also described seeing a couple leaning on a motorbike that night. The couple has never been identified. It was led to a theory that she fell off the back of a motorbike and hit her head. The driver then panicked, thought she was dead, removed her lower clothing to make it look like a SA, and dragged her to the water. But again, this theory is a lack of motorbike tracks on the road from that night, and no hard evidence that a motorcycle was seen or heard being driven on Muddy Lane that night. A key witness also did not see or hear a motorbike. He was walking his dog. His dog heard someone running in the darkness. His dog barked and a figure stumbled into a water trail. He shouted at the person, but they disappeared. Why did the killer take the jeans but not her shoes or underwear? Those questions have puzzled police for 26 years. So that was the end of this case. What do you guys think of that case? I think it's awful, especially, obviously it's awful when any person goes missing, whether it's a child or an adult or an animal or anything. Like, I think, you know what I mean, it's always awful, but the fact that it was around Christmas time when like families are supposed to be coming together and spending time with their loved ones, I think is absolutely awful. For the fact that obviously she might have like fallen out with her boyfriend, but obviously she didn't tell her parents. Maybe she didn't want to worry them or something. But it's sad really whether she was with him still or not. Like it is sad. Her mum blames herself for not checking where her daughter was. It's also sad because it's not always a possibility. It's not always as simple as making sure you know where your kids are 24/7. Like it's not always easy. Like even if you do know where they are, something can still happen.